Well, good morning and welcome back to the Gold Country Miner. Today I'm going to be working a small creek that's located on some private property down in Auburn, which is in the heart of California's historic gold country. Now, this creek was worked pretty heavily back in the gold rush, but they didn't get it all. And I've spent some time on this creek and had pretty good luck in the past, so I think today's going to be a pretty good day. So things are pretty overgrown out here. So the first thing I need to do is start bushwhacking my way out to the creek. Okay, I made it through. Still have to go back and get my gear though. So here's an overview of the creek that we're going to be working. And I'm going to be focusing my time up in that area. I'm going to clear out some of those blackberries and work the inside bank there with a pan. So I've done a few pans out of this spot in the past and had surprisingly good luck. Now this is sort of an interesting deposit. For a few reasons. Number one, the gravel layer back here. It's only maybe 1 to 4 inches deep, and it's sitting on top of a decomposing layer of bedrock. And on the top layer of that bedrock has turned into a thick, pasty clay. And I think what's happening is that the gold is settling onto that clay and kind of getting trapped there and not washing down any further. Now, it might be a little hard to tell from this camera angle, but that side of the bank there, that's the inside bend also. So we know on inside bends the flow of the water slows a little bit and gives time for the gold to drop out during flood stage. Now, another reason why I think this deposit here is pretty good is that upstream the grade of the creek is steeper, and it kind of starts to level off here and slow down a little. So I think during those floods the water's rushing pretty fast, just upstream a little bit, but then it starts to slow down and level off right about here, and I think that gives that gold time to drop out of the flow. So now the way I'm planning to work this deposit here is mostly just with my hands, with a pair of gloves on. I'm gonna scoop all the gravel off of that clay layer, not using a trowel or anything, just with my hands. That way I can really feel the surface of the clay and kind of scrape off that top layer. And then I'm just gonna pan it out. The creek is not flowing fast enough to run a sluice box or anything, so I'm just gonna use a gold pan. While the water is nice and clear here, I wanna give you a good view of what I'm talking about. So see, up here on the bank, there's a little bit of gravel, but then if you get just a little deeper, you start getting into that clay. And that interface between the clay and the gravel is what we're after. So now the first thing I need to do is start clearing out some of these blackberries so I can get back in there a little further and have some more gravel to work. So there we go. That's looking a lot better. Now we can actually see what we're doing. Now, interestingly, there's this little bedrock outcropping here that I did not know was there. So that may be part of why this deposit of gold exists over here, is that bedrock made a little obstruction and helped slow down the flow of the water through that general region right there. So that's where we're going to be working, basically from that rock up towards here, a little on the bank, a little down in the water, and there may even be some little pockets in here to try. So that's the plan. The only trouble with this bedrock back here is I didn't bring any crevice tools. I wasn't planning on doing that, so I'm gonna have to do another video coming up for that one. Now I've only got about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to actually pan, so I'm just gonna hit it as hard as I can until my back gives out and see what we end up with. Let's get to work. Okay, I got my first pan here. Let me give you a look. I'm not gonna classify it or anything because I wanna scrub the clay off the sides of these big rocks because that's where a lot of that good gold is. Stuff doesn't smell real good. I think it's been sitting there a long time. Okay, I should be able to show you. Pretty good for one pan's worth. Can you see those? Probably 25 or 30 of them there. Pretty fine stuff, but it's there. Here's a little better look. I panned it down a little further so you can get a better idea. But that's a pretty good pan. I'm happy with that. And that's gonna add up. So what I'm gonna do now is just hit it hard. Work through that gravel, that little bank there as fast as I can. And I'll pan it down to the black sands and just dump it all into another pan, which I'll clean up a little more thoroughly at the end. So prepare yourselves for a nice little working montage here. You know, different camera angles, maybe some time lapse, set to some music. So now just sit back and enjoy watching the gold country miner in his element. all that hard work ended up in this one pan of concentrates. You can see how much black sand is in there. And if you look real close, there's a few flakes sitting on top over there. So I'll get that all cleaned up when I'm back home. Then we'll throw it on the scale for you. So that's gonna be it for the day. This miner's done for. It was a good day. I didn't get a whole lot of gold, I don't think, but you know, maybe in the realm of half a gram or something. That's like 30 bucks. It's probably the hardest I've ever worked for 30 bucks. Now, this spot here, it's not done. There's more work to be had another day. This patch of bedrock I'm sitting on is intriguing. It's got some little nooks and crannies and crevices. It's got kind of quite a bit of gravel built up on top of it. So I think there's going to be another video in this spot here coming up in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so I'm back at the house. It's a few days later, but I got those concentrates all cleaned up and I got the gold separated out. So we're going to go ahead and put that on the scale. I actually did a separate video of how to process those concentrates and extract the gold from the black sands. So if you're interested in seeing that video, I'll put a link to it at the end of this one. Okay, so there's the gold from the trip. Not too bad, pretty fine stuff, but nice. Let's put it on the scale. Hey, how about that? Half a gram, pretty much on the nose. That's about what I thought. Right around $30 worth or so. Pretty good. I'll live with that. Now, if you enjoyed this episode of the Gold Country Miner, hit that like button and consider subscribing to my channel. That way you can come join me on more adventures in the future, especially this one right here. Yeah, I'll be back. I'd also like to give a shout out to the neighbors across the way here for giving me permission to come and spend the morning on their creek. So I appreciate that and hope you let me do it again here.